This episode is brought to you by Farm Bureau Financial Services, Zach Miller Agency. If you're looking for an insurance agent with a personal touch, someone willing to have the real conversations about what's important to you, assistance with submitting claims, and offering quality coverage options, Farm Bureau Financial Services, Zach Miller Agency may be the place for you. Whether you need home, auto, farm, commercial, life, or health insurance, we're here for you. Check us out at agentzachmiller.com. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agriculture Insurance Company.
My next guest is the owner-operator of Redlinc BBQ food truck in the Lincoln area. Brad, thanks for making time to be here today.
Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. I'm Zach Miller with my co-host Vance.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, Brad.
Nice to meet you guys.
We are touching base with Brad Bentele today. So let's kind of get a little background on you, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Minnesota, southwest Minnesota, about 3 miles from the Iowa border. So
Awesome. That's kind of cool. I noticed that when you called. I was like, Minnesota number coming through.
Yep.
What was your childhood like there then?
So kind of get a little bit of best of both worlds. So my mom was in the corporate business. She ran a large candy business, so like Brock's Chocolates, Now and Later's, Trolley. My mom was there for 35 years, and then my dad owned a large trucking business. So my dad was a blue-collar worker, diesel mechanic, stuff like that. And my mom was a marketing director in VP. So kind of grew up being a candy kid. So
That's okay, right?
yeah,
That's good.
and unless you're a test dummy.
Yeah, right. High school. Was high school up there too?
Yep, high school was up there in our small town. I grew up in a town of 400 people, so really small. Graduating class is the biggest ever out of that school was 33. So
there you go.
Really
Kind
small.
of like his, right? What's your graduating class?
50.
50. Still pretty close to
there.
mine was like 300. So here in town, here in Norfolk. So I get that. What was your high school experience like?
it was good. Played a lot of sports because we needed to, right? So being a small school, played football, baseball, wrestled, so kind of a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. And outside of sports, was there any other activities? I mean, I'm sure with a small school.
I was an outdoor kid, so doing farm work, stuff like that. So
That's cool. Did you attend college?
I did. I went to Minnesota West Community College, played 2 sports there, went up to University of Minnesota. So was part of the teams up there, graduated there in 2 years, and then I went in the corporate world.
Really? So you played sports up at Minnesota?
Yep. Yeah.
What'd you play?
I played fullback for the football team, and then I played
For the University of Minnesota?
Yep.
Really?
And then catcher for the baseball team.
Okay. How did you decide on the college then? I mean, obviously you're from Minnesota, but
A lot of my family went to University of Minnesota, so it was kind of a legacy thing. So
I did not know that about you. I'm probably gonna learn a lot.
Yep.
What was your degree in?
So I did actually criminal justice.
Did you?
So yeah, I did 2 years at Minnesota West, and then went up to Minnesota and finished that. So
That's awesome. So did you start?
no,
No.
no, it
Okay.
wasn't that good.
I was like, man, are you good enough to make it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll make the team.
1% of the 1%, I guess. They
Right.
call it.
There you go. That's good. So
When was that?
In 06.
06?
Yep.
So that was...
Around Eric Decker's time. So Eric Decker, Marcus Sherrills, around that. We were not very good.
No, yeah.
No, yeah, we were around. So when I got up there, it was Tim Brewster was the head coach. We were not very good. So we ended up losing to South Dakota that year. So it was not a good experience.
fun.
A lot of running.
I remember back when... So I went up to tailgated at Minnesota for a Husker game.
Yep.
Back before Minnesota started kicking our ass or
Yeah.
whatever. But you guys weren't very good either. I think it was... I want to say who was right before Fleck?
Jerry Kill.
Kill. Yeah, I think it was under Kill. It might have been under Fleck. I don't remember, but it was their homecoming game, and I tailgated with all the Minnesota fans and everything. They just wore shirts as like there's a picture of a ping pong and homecoming, whatever year it was. Let's hope we forget or something like that.
And I had some crossover too. So Tim Brewster got fired the year I was there, first year I was there, and then they had an interim head coach, Tim Horton, and then that's when they hired Jerry Kill. So we had to when we were there, it was always fine. It was like 3 coaches in less than a year, so it was very interesting.
That's kind of a cool little.
Yeah.
Didn't think coming from small town Minnesota we'd be talking about the Gophers up there.
Gophers aren't too bad this year, but
No, they're not. They just beat USC, right?
yeah,
Yep.
beat USC and Illinois.
Yeah, there you go. We couldn't even beat Illinois, and we're probably not going to beat USC. So, I mean, I'll give that one to you. It's true.
Hey, you got Dana Holgerson now calling plays.
Yeah,
so
well,
that helps.
that'll probably make a big difference. So, what made you choose criminal justice then?
So just growing up, I had a lot of friends in law enforcement. So I didn't know really when I went to junior college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it was like figuring out what made good money. And in Minnesota, law enforcement officers make pretty good living. So I was like, well, give me something to do outside the business world where my family is like all in. So
Right. We were just talking before the podcast, and you know quite a few people in the business world.
Yep. And it's basically just have my mom growing up into it and being in it for 35 years. You get to meet a lot of great people and create those connections. And it's even when you're young, it grows.
Right. So
They
what?
do say a lot of it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is a huge thing.
Yeah.
It takes intelligence. You have to have social IQ. You have to have to make that kind of connection with people and keep those people in your life.
Yep.
And lean on people, because some people love to be leaned on too, and
Yeah.
ask. They like to guide people if somebody will just ask them.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's a lot of it is them watching you grow as a person and just kind of how you articulate yourself and growing up. And they see you as this little kid when they first meet you, and then you grow up and you graduate high school and you go to college. And then when you're done with college, you're like, oh, what are you up to? Or you see them across whatever platform or trade show or.
Yep.
Are your parents still up there?
No, they actually, when my mom, so what happened is they sold the business, the local family that had it, and my mom stayed on through multiple sales and still ran the business portion of it. And then the last time when they took the headquarters out of the small town where I'm from and they moved it to Chicago, my mom ended up retiring from the corporate world. So then my mom got stir crazy after 6 months of not really doing anything. And then my mom and dad started a restaurant because my dad did barbecue as a hobby. So it was my dad would do competition stuff, would do catering on the side for weddings and graduations and whatnot. Well, then they finally said people got so big that they're like, well, we'll just make it a business. So
Brick and mortar, or was it more?
yeah, it was a brick and mortar.
Really up in Minnesota then?
Yep.
That's awesome.
So we did a lot of catering and a lot of restaurant stuff. So
You help with that?
oh, I did. Yeah, that's what kind of got my passion into barbecue.
I was gonna say.
Growing. We literally started the restaurant from the ground up. We built it, submitted the plans to the state of Minnesota, and then watching it come to fruition after a decade, it was really interesting. When my mom and dad decided to retire completely, and they sold the business, I was like, I don't want it to be done. Like, I wanted to start my own thing, and food trucks got to be a big thing.
Yep.
So it was like, I want to start my own business. So that's when I decided to do the food truck.
That's really cool.
I can't sit in one spot. I have to move around. So
I get you. I hear you there. And we'll definitely get into the food truck stuff. I just got one more life question. Married?
no, I got
Not
a girlfriend.
married. Girlfriend. Okay. So no kids then.
She's got a son. He's 8, but yeah, nothing between us.
That's cool. So you're the kind of the dad?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
really cool. How did that change your life? Just having kids around.
It's very interesting. You go from I'm 36 and never married or have any kids, so when you start that relationship, you kind of have to jump all in, right? And you kind of take that responsibility on and make sure with him in the house, it's like, all right, you got to do what's expected of you and be not only a good person, but grow up to be a good man. And that's a big thing in my life, and people that surrounded I grew up with was not only you have to be smart and articulate, but you have to be a good person, because that is going to carry you through life.
100%. That's tough stepping in at that age too. Because like
Yeah.
at least when I had kids, they were young. I got to learn. I didn't have to quite worry a whole lot. I could fail a little bit, but at 8 or even 7 or 8, whenever you guys got together, that's tough because they know what's going on.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. So when we started dating, it was like, you're not gonna sit by my mother, or you do this. It was very interesting.
He was being the protective.
Yeah, and he's a big 8-year-old too. He's 85 pounds, so he's a big kid. And it's like you do. And as a parent figure, you forget how old he is because he is bigger than most 11 or 12-year-olds. You're like, oh, you should know better, but no, you're only 8 years old.
Right. That'd be a tough one for sure. Especially jumping in, you kind of probably had to change your whole kind of outlook on a lot of things, right?
And you have to be receptive to that. Like, you have to be able to live and learn and accept those mistakes. And I told him, even now, I go, I'll never lie to you, because that breaks the trust, in my opinion. Like, 100%. I'll tell you how it is, and you may not like it, or you may like it, or you may not like it, but I'm never going to lie to you.
Right. That's good. I like that. So kind of moving in, do you have, you kind of answered some of these questions already, so I'm going to try to ask them in a different way. Did you have any other cooking or restaurant experience outside of your parents'
No,
okay,
I didn't.
So
I had
just
0.
that.
Yep.
Okay. And then we already kind of figured out where your love for barbecue came from, so that's good. You do a lot of events.
Yes.
Are you invited to those, or do you just kind of try to find ways to get into those events?
So when we first started the food truck, it was interesting because the laws didn't help us by any means in Lincoln. So in the city of Lincoln, we couldn't sit on any public property. So we had to ask all private property owners. So that was going out, talking to people to sit and vend for a little bit. But then after the first 6 months we were open, Governor Pillen got in, and then he changed a bunch of laws so we could sit in Lincoln for up to 4 hours on this. In the city council changed, but we could sit anywhere public for 4 hours unless we called park and go. So, and now that's changed to, before we could only serve in Lincoln and outskirts of Lincoln. We had to get a different inspection and license for like Grand Island and Omaha if we wanted to go there. Now they changed all that within the last year, so we can go anywhere in the state.
Okay, so if you have one license
universal
somewhere,
license,
you're
yeah,
good anywhere in the state.
And a lot of states around us do that. So Minnesota, where I grew up, they did that. So if you had a food truck, you can go anywhere in the state of Minnesota. South Dakota's the same way. Iowa's the same way. But when we moved to Nebraska, that was a learning curve for us. We're like, well, where do we sit? Like, unless we're invited somewhere where we do a lot of events. And I'm blessed where we didn't have that issue. It was always, once we got going, everybody heard our backstory and where we came from. It was easy to get into places. So
right. And I mean, you do quite a few.
Oh, yeah.
I see them all over Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, so during the busy months, we're averaging 25 to 30 events a month.
Really?
Yeah. So, and those are all mostly, I would say probably 90% of those are all invited.
So you're invited to come to them?
Yep. So they'll call us, be like, hey, we want to do company appreciation. We want you to serve for 150 to 200 people. So we'll go out there. But it's very, very rare that we just sit and vend.
I didn't even think about that. So you're going to company events. It's not just the ones I probably even see on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. We do a lot of private stuff.
Is that more lucrative?
Yeah. And depending on it, I'm a based on budget person because I don't have a lot of overhead, right? So I have the food truck. Our food truck's paid for.
It's the best overhead in the restaurant business you can have.
So I differentiate between what they're looking for. And some places might not want like a higher end item like brisket or whatever, or ribs. So then we can articulate that between what they're asking for and what their manufacturing facility, what their demographic is. So then we'll go back and forth and we'll come up with a price, and then we'll let
those
it go.
events are probably a lot easier too because you're only cooking one thing as opposed to
only cooking one thing, only serving one thing.
Yeah. So we'll do a lot of times when we go out to stuff like that, we'll do multiple stuff, but like, if we know exactly what we need, it's easier to do that than being like, all right, for a Husker game, for instance, when we do the Husker games down at the rail yard, it's like, all right, we have the Colorado game where we sold out 3 different times. I had people bringing back stuff from the kitchen.
Holy smokes.
To continue to fill the trucks because we were so busy.
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that. It's hard to manage and hard to do logistics when you don't know.
What was that like, that game?
It was pretty crazy. So I'm really good friends with one of the bar owners. I got to be friends with him over the last 3 years, and we went down to a couple of his events, and we did the Husker game for the first time last year, and he wants us to keep coming down. Well, by 3:00 on the Colorado game, they shut the road down on the rail yard, and they have LPD shuts it down, so they have security.
Yeah.
By 3:00, they had 500 people at each side of the gate waiting to come in, and we were already at capacity. By 5:00, they had 1,000 people, and they're going one in, one out. So it was wild. I got down there about 9:30 in the morning, and I didn't leave until 1 a.m.
Holy smokes! I've been down there when it's busy, but not that busy.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I go, like, for Minnesota football, we had nothing like that.
Yeah.
Zero. And then you get thrown into that right away early in the Husker season.
Yeah.
And granted,
was last year? How long have you been in Lincoln?
So with the food truck.
Well, just in Lincoln.
So I've been in Lincoln. I moved to Lincoln about 1.5 years ago. I was running the food truck and living in Columbus. So I had the food truck based in Lincoln, was living in Columbus and going back and forth. So on my days off, so I worked at BD Medical when I was living in Columbus. So then on my off days, I'd run the food truck to kind of get it off the ground.
Yep. And so you were like, last year was your first time around Husker game day experiences.
Yes. So that's why when I got invited to do that, I was like, absolutely. A lot of people. And
you just had no idea really what you were getting into.
And it really matters too, because at whatever the times are for the Husker games really matters, because nobody wants to eat barbecue at 9 o'clock in the morning for 11 o'clock game.
I mean, I would.
So it's like the afternoon and night games this year have been absolutely wild.
Yeah. Have you been there for every game then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be down there for the last game too.
For Wisconsin.
Yep.
In 2 weeks.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So we've been selling a lot of food.
It's got to be one of your best days, right?
Yeah.
By far.
And we just did, so October 25th, we did a trunk or treat. We talked about like events.
I saw that, yeah.
So we did a trunk or treat for a Catholic church, which is a very prominent Catholic church in Lincoln. And we've done their event the last 3 years. From the first year they started it to now, we average about 600 people. This year, we did 941 people in 3 hours.
Cow.
That's pretty good.
In 3 hours?
In 3 hours. So logistically, it takes a lot planning that.
Right.
So.
And luckily with barbecue, you kind of have a lot of it cooked
yeah.
ahead of time, right?
So I have a big trailer smoker it's a rotisserie, so I can fit a lot of meat on and a lot of weight on one shot. So that helps.
That's great.
Just in like having bigger events, so I can just. So my smoker, I can put almost 600 to 800 pounds on. So I just load it up and let it rip.
That's a lot of meat.
Oh yeah.
The smell coming out of that thing is probably amazing.
Yep.
That's awesome. Any other events? So you got churches, you got the rail yard, you got the trunk or treat type of stuff. Is there any like unique events that you've kind of done, or
we go out
that
to
you would call unique?
We go out to a lot of the surrounding areas. We do a lot of lake events. So they'll have like a summer bash, like where they'll do a summer kickoff. So we'll do a bunch of those. We do like pumpkin patches. So like around ours, we got Rocaberry Farms, if everybody's heard about that. So we'll go out in down that area, down to Hickman, stuff like that. So
that's really cool.
So we kind of it's really busy so we started this past year in February running the food truck again. So there's not a lot of downtime.
Right. Have you done any fairs?
So we'll be doing that here in 2025. So
which ones?
So we're going to be in the Otoe County Fair is the first one, and then we're going to do the Seward July 4th event too. So I found out that was a pretty big event. Yeah. I had people call me actually this year, and we were busy. So I already put that on the schedule for 2025.
The Seward County Fair is pretty big?
Our Seward 4th of July party.
4th of July party.
Yep.
So I didn't know, like, because that's a whole nother thing beyond just like your day events and stuff is having to post up in a place for a solid week or whatever your fair.
So I'm working right now. I'm in talks with the guy that owns Mattress Factory about potentially doing the College World Series.
Okay.
So I'm a baseball person, so I did that. So I'm working with Jeff on that too.
That would be pretty sick for you.
Yeah. So I have a buddy that did it this past year, and he said it's absolutely wild. He goes, it's kind of like the Husker games. And you get up there early, and then you don't leave until late. You do that 14 straight days.
Wow. So outside of stuff like that, do you travel outside of the Lincoln area for any events or catering jobs?
Yeah, we do. So we've gone out to Hastings a couple times. We go out down to Tecumseh. We've done a couple events down there. We go to Omaha now. So we're working on getting stuff farther north too, like up in this area in Columbus and whatnot. So
that's really cool. So I see that you've won some awards.
Yes, sir.
What all have you won?
So we had a competition this past year. So in the rail yard, they have the bars put on this event is where they have 8 or 9 different genres of food that run in Lincoln, and they pick the best of those genres in the food truck world. So it's called the Food Truck Rodeo. So they put that on, and they basically pinned us all up against each other, and it was all customer based. So we picked 3 food items off our menu, and the customers basically chose. So we had a little tub that they could put these gold tokens in to vote for you, and they had one on each gate. So at the end of it, they tallied up the votes, and we ended up winning overall. So
that's really cool. And you were going up against other genres.
Yep,
you said?
Other genres of food, everything from Mexican to Mediterranean to soul food to everything. So
at the end of the day, you cannot go wrong with barbecue.
No,
just saying.
And when you had to pick certain items too, you couldn't serve your whole. So it was you had to make sure you brought the best of the best. So
100%. Any other awards? Is that kind of the?
So we done some other like competition stuff, but nothing like crazy. So
just almost a competition. I mean, it's still good though. You're going against other people, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Tell us a little, kind of going off that. Tell us a little bit about your menu. What do you got to offer?
So we offer a wide variety. We kind of narrowed it down, but we have our baby back ribs. We're in Lincoln. We're known for those, and our brisket, and then kind of a combination of stuff. We do like a barbecue nachos. So I take pride in that because they're about 3 pounds once it's all said and done. So,
Holy smokes.
and then we do our different tacos. So we do like a pulled chicken, pulled pork, or like a brisket taco. So.
And what kind of sides you got? That always gives me it's always the sides that pulls me to places.
Oh, so we do a lot. So we do our cheesy hash browns. We do mac and cheese.
You got me already.
We do I make made from scratch coleslaw. We do our smoked baked beans. We do, what else do we do? BLT pasta salad, which is really popular in the vineyards and stuff. So, yeah, we do different spring salads and stuff. Depending on the weather, I kind of base that menu on.
Huh. That's really good.
And like this time of year, we'll do like a brisket chili. So I'll do like chili and cinnamon rolls, which is a big Midwestern thing. So I kind of keep it like change the menu throughout the season. So
I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say something unpopular. I think cinnamon rolls and chili is the weirdest combination.
Oh, I don't.
And I live in Nebraska, and I can't stand it.
And
I will never eat them.
I love it.
I didn't
think
realize
it's so
that.
weird.
I didn't realize that.
And cornbread. I also can't stand cornbread.
I love
Really?
cornbread too.
We make that. So and it's funny because when we put that on there, it's gone. Like if I put, it doesn't matter how much brisket I could put on a truck or ribs I could put on a truck. It's really funny because within a half hour they're all gone, and it's like it's weird. It's a blessing, but it's like, all right, I spent all that time and they're gone already.
Yeah, I just love a nice moist cornbread.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the dry, I can't do dry cornbread.
I just all cornbread.
Really?
There is no such thing as a moist cornbread.
Yeah, there is. I've had it.
No,
I've had it.
No,
I've
it's garbage.
Whatever.
It's all a terrible.
And
meal.
the cinnamon roll thing, I'll die on that hill.
And wasn't used to that until I moved to Nebraska, and I was like, what is this? And I first saw that at Runza.
Yeah.
So it was like, what?
They're kind of known for it.
Yep.
It runs it's something I can't. I'll never get behind, and it's just something. It's my least favorite thing about Nebraska is the cinnamon rolls and chili. I can't stand it.
Leave.
I hate it. Well, I mean, winter's probably number one, but then and chili and cinnamon rolls right behind it.
Yeah. You also said that you don't sauce anything.
No,
it's all
I do
dry
not.
rub.
All dry rub, and they always ask me at the food truck. They're like, "Oh, did you put sauce on?" I'm like, I stand by that. I'm like, my barbecue. In my mind, my barbecue is good enough for you don't need to sauce it.
Yeah.
So, and I always have I have a shelf on the food truck where I put all the condiments. I'm like, if you want barbecue sauce, it's right there. So,
So you have it.
Yeah,
you
I do,
just
absolutely.
don't. It's sacrilegious for you to put it on.
yes, the only thing I do put barbecue sauce on when we serve it is our nachos because that comes on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's really cool. I mean, I love the different variety of food you get. Every barbecue food truck I've been to always has something different. You usually got your nachos. Mm-hmm. I don't see too many do tacos. I don't think.
Yep.
That's a cool idea. Usually there's the brisket. Don't see a lot doing the ribs.
no.
100%.
And it's
Ribs are difficult, like just
To keep 'em
serve
moist.
and keep them moist,
Yep.
and then
What's your
getting people
secret?
to buy them too. Like
So
that's the other thing. Like I have a hard time going and buying ribs from somebody. Like it just is something that is difficult for me to do
Yep.
because it's a lot. You
And
know what I mean?
It's all
expensive.
how you cook them too. You don't cook them until they really fall off the bone because once you put them in the warmer, then they'll continue to cook a little bit, not a lot, but then it creates that fall off the bone feel.
Yeah.
I love me some ribs, man. You're talking about all this. We're definitely going to make a trip down and try your food. What is the best thing in your opinion on the menu that you got, or what'd you win? Like what was your 3 things that you picked?
So what we picked was we did kind of a combine of all 3 meats. So we did our chicken submission was the chicken tacos, or pulled chicken tacos, which we do all breast meat, all white meat, which is another thing in itself where a lot of people don't do that because they can't keep it moist.
Correct.
We have a little tricks of the trade that we do that. Our pulled pork is our nachos, is what everybody likes, and then our brisket was our brisket sandwich.
And you're going to tell us that secret after the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Just for my own self, so I can make it at home. No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, more on the food truck. So you got started. How difficult, as entrepreneurs and things, because you started on your own, right? You
Yes,
didn't,
sir.
you didn't buy an already active food truck. So what were some of the hardships that you came across?
I would say not knowing anything, to be honest with you. It's working through that is I had the restaurant background with my family, but like other outside of that, you only can take a little bit of information from there. But when you're trying to pack a food truck, like according to what size you have, because not all food trucks are the same.
Yeah.
You only can pack so much in there, and to be articulate about what to put where and how much stuff you can put in a food truck is the one that you have to like trial and error a lot of stuff.
100%. And nobody wants leftover waste.
Oh no,
so that
because it costs money.
Was that one of your biggest challenges? Was dealing with that? Or were you ever afraid of that? Like,
yeah,
especially when you're doing a smoking type stuff, because you put so much time ahead of it.
So to start off with, we did bring a lot because we didn't, like you said, we didn't want to waste it.
It's better to sell out.
Yes. And then as we started selling out, we started gradually getting up there, and to the point where I didn't want to sit for 30 minutes and be all gone, because that's not fair to anybody. And then if I tell somebody I'm going to be there from X time to say like 5 to 8 p.m., I'm going to be there from the 5 to 8 p.m. and I'm going to have enough food for that.
Yeah.
And when we do like events for like Glacial Tills has a fermented Friday out at their vineyard, that's like a big event for them every Friday. So there may be 800 to 1,000 people out there watching live music, and they're paying to be there. So they're basically paying to spend money. Yeah. And then they know that they're going to be there watching live music. They're going to get food, and they can drink cider and stuff on top of it. So every time we've been out there, we've sold out. So I make sure I have plenty of food for those big events.
That's got to be a big event for you too. We didn't even talk about that one.
Yeah. So yeah, we have we do a lot of vineyards and wineries around. So we kind of the ones we stick around Lincoln is we do Glacial Till, which they have a tasting room in Ashland, but we do out at their vineyard, which is in Palmyra, and then we do 426, which is just outside of Lincoln. We do Junto Winery, which is on between Lincoln and Seward, and then we go to Capitol View Winery, which is south of Lincoln.
You're a busy dude.
I try to be. I like to stay busy, so
man.
My big thing is, and my parents instilled this in me, it's not about the money, because the money will come. It's about spreading good food and good service. Yeah. So once everybody gets a hold of that, then that's when the money starts coming in.
It's a good value to have. I like that a lot. So outside of the maybe the food waste and the food side, just the business portion, knowing how to market yourself and knowing the books and all that kind of stuff, was that something you kind of had to learn on the fly too?
Not so much, because a lot of that was probably the most that carried over from having the restaurant is knowing what your cost is for food, what your cost is for your product, right? So you like your usable stuff, like your utensils, your takeout containers, stuff like that. So that was I brought that over from the restaurant side, but it was more the food, because in a restaurant, you kind of know your locals, you know what everybody's coming in, what to make. Or in the restaurant side with my mom and dad, is they had rib Fridays, so they had rib meals. So my dad and mom would start taking call ahead orders at noon.
If you're going to be here type of thing.
Yep. Gotcha. So then they knew that, say we had a rib night and we did, say, 300 racks of ribs, that we knew that, say, 200 of those were already spoken for, that we could sell 100 for walk-ins. So that is probably the hardest in the food truck, because you don't have that. Mm-hmm. So
that's interesting. And people outside of the restaurant business don't realize that when it comes to food cost, you got to wrap it all in.
Oh yeah.
So that you're giving a utensil away, you're giving a box away, or a wrapping of some kind, or whatever goes with that meal has to be put into the cost of that.
Well, and then everything's rising, right? Like everything costs so much, and the problem with people is they'll spend. We see this all the time with weddings. They'll spend $15,000 on a venue, but then you quote them for catering for food, and they're like, "Well, that's too much." Just the brisket alone is $4 plus a pound raw, and that doesn't count the time and effort and seasonings and all that other stuff that go into it. So,
the blood, sweat, and tears, right? Man. Okay. So tell us. So the acquisition of Fat Ferg's backyard barbecue sauce.
Yes, sir.
Give us a little background on Fat Ferg's before you kind of go into the acquisition.
So, the Fat Ferg's barbecue sauce was started by a guy, Jeff Ferguth, in Lincoln, Nebraska. So he worked for BNSF Railroad, so he had a full career there. He started that in 2014, won a lot of awards with those. So we're talking KCBS Tour awards. We're talking Illinois Barbecue Society awards. So that was his big thing. So he did some catering and had a food trailer, and then started his barbecue sauce line. So then how that started was he just grew that from 2014 and got that into stores. So he got it into like Super Savers, Hy-Vees, Russ's Markets, and then little mom and pop shops in between. So we're at Baker's Candy and everything. So
That's really cool. I mean, it takes a lot to start making barbecue sauce and selling it that way. And you said he had a kitchen.
Yep.
Was it like an offsite, I'm assuming?
Yep. So it's offsite. He had an offsite kitchen, so he bottled everything small batch. So
And that's for legality purposes,
Yep,
right?
yeah,
You
you
can't just have it at your house.
Yeah, no.
You got to have a commercial kitchen for that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
But you said small batch?
Yep, small batch for when he started. So I'm gonna basically make it bigger. So we're gonna look at seeing how long it takes me from start to finish, how much I can do, and then look into a co-packer.
Gotcha.
That'll be kind of interesting. I hope it really grows for you. We haven't tried them yet.
Yep.
We'll do that here shortly.
But yeah, we just finished and acquired that. Probably we finalized that in the last 2 weeks. So we basically acquired his whole business, the barbecue sauce line, the rub line, and the food trailer that he had. So
How did that all come about?
So he actually worked with my girlfriend, or he worked with my girlfriend's uncles on the railroad. So that kind of got that jump started when he was getting ready to retire. He was looking to sell everything. Well, he got my name from my girlfriend's uncles. So he contacted me, and I was looking for some other stuff to upgrade my food truck, and he had some of the stuff that I was looking for. So I contacted him, and we started looking at the food trailer, and he gave me a good price on on that to begin with. And so I bought that from him to start. And then he brought it up to me while I was when we were picking up the food trailer about acquiring the barbecue sauce line. So I thought about it, thinking stuff like that, an acquisition that's already in stores and already established, usually is pretty significant cost-wise.
But you're like, I'm not a sauce guy. So.
Well, and you don't think about it. And then I kind of kicked it over with my mom, and my mom had a bunch of questions being in the food industry for so long and selling it on a grand scale globally.
Yeah.
And she had a bunch of questions, and I asked Jeff, and he answered those immediately, and I sent those, and we kind of had like a family talk, and my mom said, I think you should do it. So I talked to Jeff, and we hammered out a price, and I acquired that, and he threw the rub line in there with it. So,
And obviously already having it established, there was already going to be a revenue stream.
Oh,
so
yes,
buying it was
yes.
honestly probably like a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
To an extent, right?
And all the hard work. People don't realize how hard a work it is to get it into mainstream stores like that. Like you can sell it on the side, on the truck, or like go to different vendor fairs and do it that way. But to get it into big corporation stores like that, it's a big deal.
Because you said you got it in some Hy-Vees, right?
Yep. So we're in 80 stores right now altogether, and we're looking to make it a lot bigger. So we're going to try doing a national brand. So,
Well, good luck to you on that.
yeah,
That's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be.
But even being in 80 stores.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we're working right now to fill stores for the holidays. So for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, keep on top of that. So, and then we're going to start pushing it down in Arizona where my parents are at, and kind of get it out there. And my mom and dad are going to do some groundwork down there to get that, because it's a brand that up here where a lot of snowbirds go down to Arizona and that area, they'll recognize that homegrown brand. Yep. So it'd be nice to have it down there. So that's the first one they pick off the shelf.
100%. That's a good thought. I would have never thought of it like that. When it comes to, like, are you going to hire more people for this?
Yes, I have a couple hired people already on my food truck, so we'll be kind of utilizing both. So we're going to be like now, and it's slowing down now. We still do a lot of catering, but like the food, we're not doing the 30 events a month. So then we can utilize a day or two to fill a bunch of bottles to see what our max capacity is. And then I'm already in the works of finding a co-packer and whatnot, because people don't realize how you make it in a small batch is not how the co-packers make it. Yeah. So they may change some, and we got to make sure that it comes out to that
and still get the same result.
Yep.
Yeah,
same taste that everybody knows.
That is one of the. So going to the co-packer is definitely going to make it easier on you, but it can turn into being a problem a little bit?
A little bit. You just gotta iron things out a little bit. Make sure that they're getting the right recipe or the recipe that follows.
And make
close.
sure they're not
Yep.
cutting costs.
Yep. No,
I mean,
absolutely.
Right.
That's
the
what
thing.
you're most afraid of when you do something like that. Anytime you go from your small stuff to something bigger, they're always trying to cut costs, which everybody is.
Yeah.
Even at a small level, you're trying to cut costs, but it's way more important to have the good product.
And it does.
when you're smaller.
And people don't realize like the cost difference in bottles. I'm looking at that right now. Like, we're doing costing effect for 3 or 4 different companies, and we're like, why are you 50 cents a bottle more than your competitor? So, and there's different heat cycle bottles too. So some bottles are 145 degrees on a cold fill, and if you want a hot fill and to make the process faster and streamline it, you go to a little bit more expensive bottle at 185 degrees. So then when it comes right out of the cooker, you can fill the bottles and label it right away.
Does the shape or anything have to do with cost of the bottle at all? I've always wondered that because you always see different, shapes and stuff.
So we're gonna try. I like everything being streamlined. Growing up in that, being in manufacturing food in my life, so I want to potentially get a thinner bottle that holds the same amount of ounces, so it fits in the. Everybody doesn't think about this, but a lot of people put condiments in their fridge doors.
I think about it 100% of the time.
So then
all the time.
you take up less space, still get the same amount, and not have to mess with the cost any. So
I like that. I like that idea. More people need to think about that. Looking at the ingredients, though, I don't see that they'd have to change too much of the recipe, right? The co-packer?
Nope.
That's good. We had a few things around this area. They were trying to do the same type of thing, not barbecue sauce, but I don't remember what it was. It was some kind of salad. And they were having to change the recipe, and people could tell the difference from when it was being homemade and whatever you want to call it, when it was small packaging, and they went to there, they could definitely taste the difference and quit buying it.
Yeah, that's a big problem because you don't want to lose those.
Yeah, 100%. They do look
Because
really
those
good.
are the ones that are going to be the most mad.
Oh, absolutely.
The ones that are your diehard buyers, and then, well, you just ruined this, and then they'll never come. Like, it's hard to get them.
Yeah.
You'd probably never get them back on a lot of things,
Yep.
right? They'll just say, no, I'm out.
So in the food industry, they always say you have to impress the same person 4 times before you have a customer for life. So
I could see that.
I live by that because my mom taught me that growing up. Is like, not only in the manufacturing world and food, you have to make sure that same person, you gravitate them all the time, because once they're gone, it's hard, like you said, to get them back.
Yeah, one bad experience can really ruin
Absolutely.
it 100%. I get that. I think there's probably been things out there that I was like diehard on, and then I had one bad experience and I would never buy it again. So I mean, I get it. I do like. Is that the whole variety that you have there?
Yep, that's all 4 flavors.
So we've got Hot and Wild. We've got zesty mustard, and what, a regular, original, and sweet and mild. So this is what, can you maybe compare this? Is this more like just a sweet lemon?
Yeah, it's more like a sweeter version, and then the original's more like a savory.
Gotcha.
The zesty mustard, I'm not a mustard person, but
I'm gonna love it.
That is what sold me, to be honest with you, because it was very interesting when I tasted that. It was next level in my opinion. It was like, and that's what he's won a lot of awards on. So,
well, let's pop these open and give them a try.
You have to let me know how you guys think of these, because they're all going to be different. So,
I'm excited for that. I like different choices. I've been really on the Kinder's hot honey kick.
oh yep,
Have you ever had that one?
yeah.
I put it on my freaking everything. It's dang good, but I'm really excited. So mustard's my next. Any kind of mustard mustard-based barbecue sauce is like my next favorite thing.
And when we get all of get everything down, we might add on a couple different lines and whatnot. Get a really hot one and more of like a honey mustard base. So
I'm gonna use that for that, and then we're gonna do that.
don't tell me you don't like mustard.
He's like a child.
That smells good. No, I just wanted to smell it. It smells really good.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge. I can honestly say I've never bought or chose a honey or mustard-based barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's.
I don't even like using mustard on when I'm cooking meat. I
Same.
don't use
agree.
mustard.
I agree, and it was really impressive when I ate that.
Is it sacrilegious to use it as a binder?
Depends on not really. No, it's all
Okay,
preference.
I just
It's
wanna
all
make sure.
preference.
Okay, that's the hot one.
I'm just over here. I'm just gonna keep eating, keep pouring
I
them.
should probably shake these up, huh? I didn't even think.
Oh, you're good.
This is the first food thing we've done
Really?
on our show.
Really?
We've done a couple of our other podcasts have done it, but I think we only had one other food related, and not a fully food related one either. I don't think you're our first food related podcast.
One they have a taco truck.
Their
His
family has a
Okay.
taco truck, but he's actually a realtor.
Okay. And I just like another thing too with this is I like how versatile these barbecue sauces are. You can use it as a dipping sauce.
Which
you can
one
use it
is
as wings,
Original.
and then you can use it on like a sandwich or whatever. So
Yeah.
the versatility of these sauces are really good.
As I've been opening them, they smell really good. You want me to pour you some too? You want to try them with us?
No, I'm good.
Okay. You've had them before.
Yeah.
What'd you? So that's the. Okay.
Hold on, let me try the last one
Oh,
first.
all right.
Now you're good.
Smells amazing.
That zesty mustard got a little kick on the end.
That is super good. I've been using it was golden blue or blue something
Okay.
from the store.
Yep.
It's some kind of a mustard barbecue sauce, but that's one I've been using. This is way better than that. 100%. Smells spicy. Is it?
It's not that spicy.
No, it's not.
I like heat. So.
No.
I'd say the the hot one's my favorite, and then probably the mustard, and then the original, and then the sweet
Sweet
one.
and mild. And that's the best thing about those four is it's kind of there's something for everybody, and that's you don't have to pick one flavor.
So this is the original, I believe. That one, the hot one's really good. So far, it's a toss-up between those two for me.
Okay.
Even that one's got they're all really good so far. I used to love sweet barbecue sauces, and now I don't so much.
It's more savory. I mean, as you get older, you lean towards the savory side than sweet.
100%.
I like sweet heat.
Yeah.
And if I love sweet barbecue sauce, but I gotta have
A kick to it.
a good kick.
They're all very good.
Oh yeah, those
Appreciate
are
that.
really good.
I'm trying to think of which one my favorite is, though. Definitely between the mustard and the hot one, though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when we get the data back, how everything performs when we get to max capacity, what one sells the most. It seems like when we go to the store,
You don't have any data on that now?
we do a little bit, but right now it's just basically Lincoln.
It's all anecdotal.
Yeah. So it's more figuring out when we get to the large scale, when we get we just go based on what's in the stores, right? So a lot of it is the mustard sells a lot, and the hot and wild sells a lot. So, and then it's like the originals towards the back end. So, but it's different. It's different than everybody else, what everybody else is doing. So,
Yep.
I would say it doesn't taste like anything else I've had.
No,
Like there's no really
It's different.
comparing it to anything.
and that's good.
I would put these in the rotation with my other favorite barbecue sauce.
100%.
Like
I like
I
they're
love
not.
the glass jar one. I can't even remember. I'm losing it right now. It's in Hy-Vee, but
I can't even
out
think.
of
I know which one you're
Nebraska.
talking about, but I can't think
I'm
of
losing it right now.
what it would be called.
But
But I like
Yeah, I would-
they're not super thick.
yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
a
what
big
I
thing,
like too, and that's why I like that other one because it's just runny. I like a runny barbecue sauce because, like you said, I'm not cooking with it generally.
No.
Or if I'm cooking with it, I'm basting with a whole bunch of other seasoning. Like I'm going to use it
Yep.
with seasonings and with sugar and honey and
Yep.
everything. I'm going to add more pepper. I'm gonna make my barbecue sauce off of somebody else. I do that a lot.
Well, that's-
like I'll buy somebody's barbecue sauce and then I'm gonna put my own stuff in it.
And that's why with these too is it's great for that because you can add it on. So those people glaze ribs with it.
Yeah.
So it'd be perfect for that because it's that last part,
The very last thing.
very
yeah.
last part of it. And it's like with the zesty mustard, you can use it with wings. You coat them when you get done smoking wings. You take them off. You run them a coat on them, and then they're good to eat.
Yeah, those are
They're pretty
top
good.
tier, 100%.
I don't have anything to compare it to on a mustard barbecue sauce because, like I said, I've never.
I can run up and
I've
grab
never
that
had
other
a
one.
mustard barbecue sauce.
That one's definitely better than the one I've had.
good.
The other one's more sweeter. It's not as zesty as that one. It's still
Probably-
not like a honey mustard, but it's a little sweeter than that one.
And everybody in Nebraska is known for dipping things. I've learned. So everybody dips with barbecue sauce. So it's not necessarily on a sandwich or on something like this.
We're definitely
use it-
dippers around
They
here.
dip it with everything.
I must not be from Nebraska.
You must not be. You don't like the cinnamon rolls. You don't
I mean,
like
I
to
dip in
nothing.
ranch. I dip in ranch.
No, I'm
If I
definitely
do
a
wings,
dipper.
I dip in ranch and barbecue sauce or ranch and buffalo. That's
Yeah.
I want naked wings. I like my wings naked. And
It's
do
like even
that.
if I'm having like a chicken breast or a chicken thigh, I'm still gonna dip it
Yep.
in
Really?
Yeah.
I don't. No, I don't. If I'm having a sandwich, I'm definitely not dipping. The barbecue sauce is going
Yeah.
on the sandwich.
Well, I'll do that,
Yeah,
but
It's like people that sauce brisket. I was like,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
oh, I see it a lot on the food truck. It's like
really,
kind of hurts your soul a little bit.
is that to cover up any kind of dry texture or how? To,
No, well, no, we don't have any of that problem.
not you. I
But
just
like,
meant
If I
people-
do it, I'm usually like putting mayonnaise on my brisket sandwich.
It's almost
Like,
like,
it's
a
not a
taste
barbecue
thing,
sauce.
almost what they're
Really?
used to doing as a
Okay.
person.
Okay. How long you smoking your ribs for? You probably can't tell us, huh?
Well, it depends. I do it by time and temperature, so necessarily, I should say, I do a lot more temperature based than time,
Right.
Because it's more wanted to get it to like 165 before we wrap them, and then because I don't know if it's common knowledge or not, but any smoked item you do, the pores close up in meat
Yep.
at 160 to 165 degrees. So then if you're leaving it on after that, you're really not doing any adjusting. You're basically drying it out. So
Right.
that's why we wrap it. So it's more of that. So we do it anywhere from 4 to 5 hours for ribs. Brisket, you have that stall pattern in there with brisket, so that could take anywhere from 12 to 16 hours depending on the size. So
Do you ever tinker with the method? Like go really low and slow, or go kind of speed it up a little bit? Or
we've actually done both. So growing up, my dad did a lot of that. Just kind of
I do. I love tinkering on how I'm cooking my meat.
So in the competition circuit, so people don't realize this either. Competition barbecue and consumer barbecue are vastly different.
Yeah.
Because you're doing the one bite for competition where it's really bitter and you're full of flavor. Or consumer barbecue, they're there to eat a whole meal, right? So when you're doing consumer barbecue, that you have to lead towards what a normal consumer would like. They want, technically, if you do fall off the bone ribs, they're technically overcooked.
I don't like fall off the bone ribs.
Yep. So you
generally.
want that chew a little bit to pull off the bone. Where a lot of people, consumer want the in their mind fall off the bone ribs, which
They don't want
when
to
you
work
have
for their food. Apparently.
Yeah. So then you lean towards
It's a
that.
flavor thing though too. Like
Yep.
I mean, there's a flavor, taste, texture. Like and I get that. I understand that. Like some people, like we mess around with aging beef. I'm more like generally everything I cook is beef.
Yeah.
Like I'll do anything with beef. But like we've messed around with dry aging compared to wet aging. I hate dry aged beef. Like it's,
Really?
I've just grown up. I don't like the flavor. Some people love the flavor. I can't stand the flavor. So it just one of those things that some people love and some people don't. So I get that why the people like the fall off the bone. I don't. But
Yeah, it's very interesting. Just the different factors that fall into it. Now, when you go to the competition circuit, now everybody's doing the big thing now is Wagyu. So you're doing Wagyu briskets, which is highly marbled.
That's finally hit the barbecue scene.
Yes, and they'll if you do a high end barbecue circuit, they're making you pay for a full Wagyu brisket, which you're
Can't be
doing
cheap.
that. Oh, it's like $300 for a brisket. So it's a very expensive hobby.
I kind of want to try one now.
It's
'Cause
it's very
I'm-
very wild.
I'm intrigued on a Wagyu brisket.
So if you look up, Snake River sells them. I've done one, and my dad's done one, and it is very, very impressive.
It's
very,
good.
oh yeah, very. It like melts. Literally, when you eat it, it like
You know
melts in
what
your mouth.
would suck is fucking that up.
That's
though.
what I mean. That's what I mean. If you screw that
Just-
up.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like I would be so scared. Like we raise cattle, we raise beef, and so briskets out the galore in our freezers. Over the years, and so a lot of tinkering. But when we fuck one up, it's it still tastes good. It's still meat. It's edible, but it's like it's whatever. I don't know if I could imagine going and buying a Wagyu brisket.
And that is not for the faint of heart either. Of like these backyard barbecue, you like either are wanting to do it and okay with the consequences if you mess it up.
Yeah.
But like as a consumer and as a business, no, you do not want to walk on that.
Oh my gosh. What would that even cost if you did something like that when you went to like off the truck?
You're probably looking for a sandwich. You're probably looking at 20 to 25 or more.
That's what I was thinking.
Because you think we run probably a quarter to a half a pound a sandwich. So you think about that. You do a
Right.
16-pound brisket, and it's going to shrink about 70. You get about 75%, which that's not even counting you trimming it.
Yeah, that's
So
not any of the stuff that's not even getting eaten.
So if you get half the brisket, you're basically doubling your price. So then you're looking at like $600 you got to recoup somewhere.
Oh my gosh. That is just wild. So you're not getting into that?
No, not maybe for fun, but not off the truck.
Do it at the house. Yeah. Give it to your
I'm
friends.
definitely gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to buy one of those and have a brisket party sometime.
Evidently.
Yeah,
I kind of want to try it.
And we've kind of tinkered with our recipes. So my mom and dad, we have our own rub recipe that we utilize. So we make it, and that's what we're known for in Lincoln is our brisket, and it's very much that way. It's very juicy and very like moist.
Yeah.
And when people bite into it, it's very, very tender. So that's why everybody gravitates towards our truck because they want to come for the brisket.
Gotcha.
So you become well known.
Yes.
Now we're really gonna have to come down there because I'm literally watering at the mouth for this food. Anything that you're looking at getting into in the future as far as on the menu, or have you besides the Wagyu brisket?
We're gonna
Keep your eye out for the Wagyu brisket on the Redlinc truck.
We're gonna expand a little bit, and we change the menu periodically on the truck. But most of the time, we're gonna probably do like different varieties, kind of like what we had with the restaurant. So we're gonna do like a brisket Philly. Ooh. So have that like a Philly brisket Philly nachos or a brisket Philly sandwich, which will probably catch a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then do different varieties of like the pulled pork. So you can do like a hog molly like we did back home where you put coleslaw and different like pineapple habanero sauce on it. So with different things. So, and we do that on the truck. We do a pineapple habanero sauce. So
That sounds really
That's
good.
the kind like a Philly brisket stuff like that.
Yep.
That's when, or a brisket Philly or whatever. But that's a really good thing to do. Like if you do run extra meat and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Those secondary meals are almost better.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want that type of stuff. Like, hey, give me I want that leftover brisket on my Philly or on the sandwich or.
I love coleslaw on my pulled pork sandwich.
oh yeah, and we make everything from scratch. So
I can only imagine how good everything is. Again, we're just gonna have to make a road trip.
and that's why our nachos are so popular. So on our nachos, we do like a corn tortilla chip. We do our whatever your choice of meat is, and then we top it with our coleslaw. We top it with our smoked baked beans, and then we put our barbecue sauce on there. So So yeah, that's kind of like everybody's favorite. And that's why when we narrowed the menu down, that's kind of like almost a staple. What we have on there is what everybody enjoys. So
That just sounds super good. And you said you don't actually sit anywhere like besides the rail yard. You're not usually just sitting out
not
on a day of the
necessarily.
week.
Well, with the other food trailer now, we might more in 2025 because we'll have whole nother unit plus more people. So we might do that a lot more, pick up more customers.
That'll be kind of cool. You got a spot maybe in mind that you might want to?
We're in talks with 3 or 4 people, kind of. So our goal is to probably once a week go the different like north side of Lincoln, south side of Lincoln, east and west, kind of like rotate it that way. So then everybody knows on Thursday we're going to be at X place.
Yeah.
So then they can come and pick up all their stuff.
It's a really neat idea.
Because it's hard in Lincoln. It takes a little bit of time to go across town. So if people can know that we're going to be at X place, they can get their barbecue fix instead of having me like, oh, we can't because we have kids events or everybody's super busy now. So it's like you kind of catch them and that's a big thing too. I'm a proprietor of having good food and like being local instead of going to the chains like McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King. Like we're and it's not just my food truck, it's every food truck in Lincoln. We make it cost effective, almost on par, if not cheaper than these fast food restaurants, getting way better quality of food.
Healthier.
We talk about that all the time. That people that are going to those fast food chains, just go to your local food truck or your local food spot.
Yep.
Because nowadays it's the same price, and like you just said, the quality of the food is astronomically higher. Because a lot of places, I mean, I don't know where you're sourcing some of your stuff from, but are you getting some of your stuff locally?
Oh, absolutely. So we get a lot of like our Smart Chicken. We get our chicken. We get from Smart Chicken. We get our pork from Holstone and Fremont, and then briskets we get locally as well. So we like to keep that way. And like the barbecue sauce stuff, where we one of the ingredients is honey. So it's locally grown honey and stuff like that. So I like to source it within reason as local as I can.
Yeah,
that's good because then people support you. Then you're supporting locally. It all kind of we like to keep our money around the area, right? So
people take pride in their communities, and that's why we named our food truck based on that. And we had a conversation when we were starting the food truck of what to name it, and I wanted to, since it was based in Lincoln, I wanted it to be a Lincoln name. So everybody loves Nebraska football, and the state of Nebraska, what's their colors? Red or scarlet and red, right?
Yeah.
Or scarlet and white. Sorry.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. So we wanted it to be red because my favorite color is red. So it was red, and then Link short for Lincoln. So it was made it community based.
That guy caught on to that real fast. I kind of noticed, is that the logo with the cleaver kind of coming down onto the truck? Is that new?
No, for the food truck.
For the food truck, yeah.
So we based that. If you look at it real close, it looks like the state of Nebraska.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
So it's a cleaver, but it looks kind of like the state of Nebraska, the other way. So
is that what's on your shirt there?
Yep. You got the little panhandle and
yeah.
So that's why we chose that one.
Give me a second. I want to find one. Not just that logo. It was the one. I don't know if it was just a Halloween one. Maybe. I gotta find it now. Hang on. Bear with me. I just saw it today. It like has the truck in the photo.
Oh yeah, that's just a picture that we had. Oh, you're talking about. So I had somebody draw that for me.
Oh really? So that's not like a new logo.
No, so it's just like a secondary logo. But one of our customers, actually drew that for me to match the truck. So they did it twice. So the first time they did it, they matched our truck before we got it wrapped, and then the second when I got it wrapped, they're like, "Oh, we'll just do another one that matches the truck." So,
oh no, of course I can't find it.
Should be on our Facebook page.
Yeah, that's where I went. I might have scrolled by it.
Yeah, So we got, when they made that, I was really impressed. It looked really cool because we have a 1977 Chevy step van as our food truck, so it kind of gives that old school like hot rod feel.
Yeah.
So, and that's what they made that logo on. So
now I'm frustrated. I can't find it. That's right. I'll show Vance later. It was really cool when I saw it, 100%.
Had the cleaver on top, and
And there was almost looked like it was obviously barbecue sauce.
it
but
is.
It kind of
It
looked
was. It was barbecue
like
sauce.
kind of looked like blood.
Yep.
Now I'm frustrated. Dang it. It was really cool.
So yeah, we're gonna at some point put it on T-shirts and whatnot. So
It's gonna look sick. You should just make that your new
logo.
thing. 100%.
Definitely catches your eye.
It caught. I mean,
Yeah.
no, I can't find it, but it definitely caught my eye when I saw it. That's all right. I don't want to make you.
I got all sorts of.
I just can't believe I can't find. I just saw it today. Shoot. That's all right. Vance just gets to miss out on seeing the photo.
There you go.
I don't know if I'll ever see
There
that.
it is.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, I love that so much. That's so good. That's so good. You should definitely make t-shirts. I'll be a sucker and buy one. 100%. Anything more on the food truck itself that you want to that maybe we didn't touch on that you maybe want to touch on?
No, not really. Just getting local support, basically, is more the merry. We like spreading good food. So anybody
Sounds
wants
like
to
you
try.
got pretty good support in Lincoln.
Yep. Try to get out on the outside and get events everywhere. So we do catering too. So that's if anybody has an event like corporate or just a get together anyway, we do everything from small to large. So anything in between.
Be a good thing for a wedding, right? Barbecue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've done a couple of those.
Have you?
50th wedding anniversaries. I just did a couple of those the last couple of months. So.
I think the brides would get scared with the
It's-
white dress.
It's very interesting you talk about that. It's depending on the atmosphere that we're at. Like, so there's a couple of venues that are more like barn feel, and you wouldn't believe the barbecue that goes out there. And it's very interesting. You do 400, 500 people. You're just like, interesting choice.
That's funny.
I'd probably prefer it.
Barbecue?
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh, people,
I mean,
people
it
love
works.
I'd prefer it over, but a lot of different things. Anytime we throw a party, I'm usually doing some sort of smoked meat of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
You were just recently on another show
Yep.
before you came here. Unfortunately, no, I'm just kidding. Chopping it up with Chubb,
Yes, sir.
and that's on
93.7 the ticket.
93.7 The Ticket. How was that experience for you? You talked for what, an hour?
Yeah, we talked for about an hour, just kind of go about, because Chubb owns a restaurant and food truck in Lincoln, so it's kind of nice to, we're friends. He was part of that on that competition too in the rail yard. So kind of having people in the food truck game kind of are getting people to understand like how things work and getting to know us as business owners and as we're local people too. So it's not put a name and face to things and going that way, and just talking about how barbecue in general has come a long ways from when it started and how the technology is taking over. And so now you got all these grills that are coming out like Yoder and Traeger that you can put a brisket on and walk away.
Yeah.
And it changes even in a commercial game, it changes a lot, because before I grew up and how my dad did it is you had to babysit everything. We did the whole
You have to watch
hardwood,
the wood. You have to
Yep.
watch the fire, the temperature, everything.
So now everything is just a lot of these bigger corporations are making these big smokers that you can just put the meat on and walk away for hours and not have to do anything. And it's very wild. Very wild.
It's kind of how I do it, I guess.
But the thing is, it's good for people to make good barbecue instead of having to stay up and take time away from their family and take time away from events. It's like, if I have an event for tomorrow, I can put a brisket on today and it will be done by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Instead of being, I have to wake up at 2 a.m.
To do
and
it.
make sure I have it done by supper time.
But
Right.
let's be quiet, because sometimes you still have to sit there and drink a beer and watch it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
That's-
it still has to happen.
It happens.
Like maybe not on the commercial side, but on the backyard side.
Hey.
These grills are a lot better, but we still need to watch them.
Yeah.
But that's what I told the Chubb too. It's my smoker is a talking piece, because when I fire it up, it ruminates that smell.
Yeah.
And people stop by all the time and what do you have on? And they're more curious to like how much we have on every. They just can't get over that. It's like people don't understand what the cost of food nowadays. They're just like,
crazy.
oh my God, if you mess this up, that's a lot of money you're out. And I'm just like, yeah, that's why I've perfected how we do things. And
That's why you got to watch it. You're not...
and the drinking beer and whatnot, and just communicating with people and getting to know people. It's like, I have people stop by all the time. They're walking next to the restaurant or the kitchen, and they'll stop by and talk, and you get to know people and get to know where they're from, and you learn a lot about the community.
Food brings everybody together.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
What can we see from you in the future? Are you looking brick and mortar at any point, or are you really just enjoying the food truck life?
I really like the food truck. I don't like staying put. I like being where the people are. So it's hard for me to sit still in general, but I like going to big groups of people because I know I could spread joy that way. Yeah. And it's very hard for people to sit in a restaurant, and if you're not busy, you're just twiddling your thumbs and hoping.
You got to have somebody come to you.
Yeah. And I like being able to go that way. And it, not only as a business model, but just as a personal preference. Like, I'd rather go to a big event and see and get to communicate with people and talk to people because I'm a people person. So I love talking to people.
It's probably a better way to get more clientele too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you're brick and mortar, you're going to have your regulars. You know, you can still have regulars with the food truck, but
yeah, and it's nice too because I get people no matter where we're at, they're following us. So they'll be like, oh, it's our time. Or it's the women. It's funny. The wives will be like, oh, it's my time to cook, so we're gonna have barbecue. And I was like, perfect.
That's funny.
That's good. I think a lot of
and their
people,
husbands never disagree.
Oh yeah,
No, 100% not.
The one thing, like we said, like food, you like to bring joy. Like a lot of people, and I feel this way when I cook. Like, I don't cook for myself. I hate cooking for myself. If I'm just going to cook for myself, I'd rather go pay somebody else to cook for me. But I like to cook for other people to watch them eat it. Like, that type of thing when you talk about bringing joy type of shit. Like, that's all I care about is like, yeah, no, you go eat it.
No, absolutely.
I'll be fine not eating. I'm good. I'm going to watch you eat what I cook because it's selfish.
That is the most joy I get when we're at the food truck, say like at the Husker game, for instance, where we're busy, when people come back and tell you how good the food was.
Yeah.
That's, to me, is what makes everything worth it. And it's like, oh my God, those nachos were amazing. And it's like, we're doing something right because we're doing it the right way.
That's good to hear.
And that's what solidifies why I keep doing what I do. That's why when I'm waking up at 2 a.m. to fire up the smoker and to have those 16 to 20 hour days when we have 4 events in a row. Yeah. That's what helps you push through.
And this is the only thing you do, right?
Yep. So yeah, I started doing this last year around this time. It was August. I decided to do it full time because I'm a very cautious person. I'm not one to take a lot of risks. You got to take some risks, but not I'm a person that doesn't take a lot of risks. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that I could cash flow it to make sure if we do have a down day when we first started, that it wasn't going to break me. Yeah. Right. So I worked full time in Columbus, and then on my days off, I would go to Lincoln and run the food truck. Well, you're busy a lot. There's a lot of grinding involved. Yeah. But when you slowly start seeing that, just in what's the old adage? Like, it takes 5 years to get established. Yeah. Is usually. So I was like, all right, if I keep pushing through, keep doing this, well, then last year, my parents came back and we were doing an event at Glacial Till, and my mom and dad was like, yeah, you need to quit. You need to do this full time. Because we were doing, I think that day we did 350 people. Yeah. And it was like, yeah, you need to do this. And I was like, well, and granted, did I do it at the wrong time because it's in the slow period? Yes, but then it gave me time to get the truck wrapped. It gave me extra time to do all the stuff to get ready for the big push in 2023. Yeah. And it was very interesting when we did it this in 2023 to make it full time. And then this year in 2024, we're seeing massive growth in how the events we're doing, the companies we're picking up, because I like things streamlined and to show people that we can put out great food faster than fast food. When you can show people that, it blows people's mind, because by the time you pay and by the time we have the food out, it's anywhere from 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes per order. which
That's
is
wild.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
And think of things when you sit in line at McDonald's for 15 minutes waiting for
Anymore
for-
nowadays. Yeah, long time.
Yeah. But
Pull
yeah.
ahead, pull ahead.
Yeah, and I being in the manufacturing family like I was, we did it that way because we knew if we can get people in and out, people are going to see. Because in a food truck game, people see that people are standing there and not moving.
Yeah.
And that will deter a lot of people. Well, I'm not going to stand in line for 20 minutes to get wait for food.
100%.
When you see that line long and it's progressively moving at a pretty good clip, they're like, oh, yeah, I can get my food and enjoy my time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we keep it streamlined and that's why having certain things on the truck to make it streamlined, that's why we do what we do.
And it's a pretty decent sized truck too, right?
Yeah, it's a 30-footer.
Wow.
So yeah, I have a generator on the back and then a bunch of other stuff. So I have heat warmers in there and I have a big steam table and flat top and stuff like that. So
That's nice. Makes it easier for you.
oh, absolutely. And we have it set up that way, so it's streamlined. I got the fridge in there and put all the drinks. Drinks get out when people order, and the food is literally like an assembly line, and out the window it goes.
Yeah. That's good.
So you said the kitchen. Do you rent kitchen space? Or
Yeah,
do you...
so I got a couple different spots. I do it by hour. So if we're on the west side, we have a spot there, and then on the east side we have one. So I don't have to drive the food truck necessarily. If I have multiple events a day, I can be like, all right, I'm going to go to this kitchen and prep a lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then I can load up and go to my next event.
So when you said you guys had to bring more for the Colorado game, were you getting those from the kitchen, or
Yep.
where was that? Okay,
It was coming from the kitchen, our commercial kitchens, because I have stuff. That's where our smoker's at. So, and the trailer one I could bring logistically, we talked about like if I know I'm on the east side, let's say, I'll bring the trailer smoker over there, and then I'll run it. Well, then if we're on the west side, closer to the stadium during Husker games, I'll bring it over there and then run a bunch of stuff and be like, all right, we need to take it off, bring it to the truck.
wow. So do you keep somebody at the kitchen then?
They're more of like on call, or
Gotcha.
I guess not really on call, but they'll watch things for me.
Gotcha.
Especially on bigger events when we need to maximize capacity.
Gotcha.
How many people do you have? Like when you ran that day at the Colorado game, how many inner workings was going on?
So we only have 3 people in the truck. One person taking money, and 2 people running food. So we do fresh squeezed lemonades on the truck too. So that person in the middle between the cashier and the takeout window, they're running either fresh squeezed lemonades and helping the person keep up on the food. So it's very logistically, I've gotten it pretty good.
That's awesome. 3 people running that. That's wild.
So in the trailer we got is probably twice as large as the truck that we got. So we can fit a couple more people in there, which is good because we'll be able to kick out way more food.
Is it just wider or?
Wider and taller.
Okay.
So it's about 10 foot tall. Pulling it's kind of a pain, but
I'm sure.
But when you set it down like the fairs or whatever,
Yeah.
you got a lot more space
To move around. A little more comfortable.
Yep.
That's really
Especially
cool.
middle of summer when it's hot already. And then it's hot inside of a kitchen.
And I'm fortunate where this truck that we bought came from Iowa, up by Okoboji. So it had a heater in there already, and it has an air conditioner in there because the weather fluctuates crazy up there, just like here. So it was nice because in the summertime when it gets brutal down here, it's nice to have the AC to kind of take the edge off. Not to say it's comfortable.
Well, it's definitely not. It's still cold in there.
But yeah, it's nice. I can run that food truck all year round, depending on if we get 5 feet of snow.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of all I had on the food truck stuff, unless there's something else you wanted to kind of get into, Vance. Okay, we'll kind of get into the last portion of the show here, but it is about an hour in, and I do have to run to the restroom. It's kind of my thing. All right, and we're back. You know me, it always never fails. An hour in, I usually have to go to the bathroom. I don't get it. I'm probably got prostate cancer or something. I don't know. So election's already over, but leading up to the election, we were doing these federal questions that we call them for every guest that's been on Touching Base.
Okay.
So I'm still going to ask him because it's not, it's here. He is president-elect, but it's not, fully over yet. So I'm still going to ask these questions. With it being an election year, how do you feel about where the state of our country is right now? And do you feel that we are being well represented at the federal and state levels?
State levels, yes. Federal levels, no. I think federal levels, they're kind of, it's almost like robbing Peter to pay Paul. So it's like taking it from the middle class to giving it to whoever they feel suit, whether it's overseas to different stuff or padding pockets, whatever that may be. But
Yeah. And you see most of our TikToks, you know where we lie.
yeah, absolutely.
So we're on the same page.
What do you mean? I thought we hit it really well.
We hide it. Yeah, we hide it so well.
I don't
Says
think,
the walls too.
Yeah, says the walls too.
I don't think anybody can prove what side I'm on.
Do you feel that the systems that are in place, talking about the two-party system, still work in today's time?
Yes, I do. Now, to be bipartisan in that, to work together is a big thing. It got to the point in the last, I would say, 8 years or so, got to be one wing versus other wing, and there was no working together. And I think now the two-party system is great, but being able to work together is what is the factor between yes and no.
Do you think being able to work together for the people?
Yes, absolutely. Because when
I feel like they work together
you do?
in Washington.
Just for themselves?
Yes,
though?
that way, yeah. But like,
They don't. They put on a show that they're fighting.
I agree.
Like we all are fighting.
Yep.
The people in the. I've always felt that the people in the party, the voters, are the ones fighting each other, and then they all go to Washington and they all meet in back rooms and do all this bullshit for themselves, not for the voters.
It's, to me, in my thought, is once they get into office, it's more of, all right, I need to please you to stay here. That's why I really think there should be term limits on senators. Because then you're not staying there. If you are very well versed in how to talk to the people and get elected, you should only be like the president. Like, you should only have X amount of time.
Nancy Pelosi just got elected to her 20th
Yes.
congressional term.
It should be business people leaving their job for 4 to 6 years and then going back to their business.
Absolutely.
Not being in politics as a business.
Because I think you see a lot of change that
100%.
way. Because when you have to go back, it makes things more versed in how to work together and how to better the country instead of just being, I'm going to be here for next 20 years because I'm in a congressional district where I know I'm going to win.
Which I think it'd be okay if, like, we could do. In my opinion, they should be, since the Senate's, was it a 4-year term or 6-year term?
4.
6-year term.
6. I don't remember.
I think so. That's 12 years. I'd say 2 on Senate, 6 on Congress, and then if you are able to go from Congress to Senate, then you're proven that you're actually doing something.
Yes.
And then you can work up that way. But I don't think you should be able to stay in your same position for 40 years.
I agree. Because you're not, okay, everybody wants to better the economy, for instance. Everybody sees a normal person, anybody with a mind can see that everything is super expensive right now, and it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's food, whether it's grocery, or whether it's gas, whether
It's not even the price as much as just your dollar isn't worth as much.
absolutely.
Like, that's the biggest issue.
And it's if people could work together that way and having the term limits and be like, all right, we're never going to cross that because I got to live when I'm done with my term, because I don't want it to be worse when I leave, because that ain't going to look good on me.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
What about them being able to trade in the stock market?
To me, I don't think that's appropriate. Now, if you have a business, in my opinion, and you run that business and you go into office, you should hand over those rights so you aren't running that business, because you then can have those or put bills through to help your business and help your buddy's business that you've worked with over the years.
No, that's tough too.
I'm not totally sold on that, but I like the
get
concept.
where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But it would be better. I think it would be okay if we were doing the term limits.
Yeah.
I think if the way it is now, if you have a business, I think you
that's
should
what
definitely have to give up the rights.
And that's what it is now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now you get all these. There's a whole business based on watch. There's literally I don't know who made it, but there's an Asian gentleman that created a business that based on the stock market and how you can follow the trades of the
There's
Congress.
like chasing
Yep.
whales
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
like
Yeah,
that.
you can literally say, "Hey, I want my money to go wherever
wherever
Pelosi
Nancy puts her
goes."
money,
Yeah.
wherever
Yep.
and it works.
Nancy Pelosi's husband, who's the greatest stock trader of all time, just you follow him.
It's also like, turns out you might know that a bill's going to be going through and it's going to affect businesses.
I don't know.
And you sell your stock in that business.
Literally don't know what you're talking about. You're such a liar. Why are you so...
I know.
Why do you hate the left so much?
I know. I hate it so bad.
I don't understand why you're attacking my side.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. It's just tough. It would work that way in today's way, but if we go to term limits, I don't think that somebody should have to give up the rights to their business if they're only going to be in there for.
But I feel that way because when the founders started it, you were a farmer, you were a landowner, you were a business owner, and you left for 60 days. You went to Congress, wherever Congress was, for your 60-day deal. Then you went right back to work.
Yep.
So I don't like the concept. I get what you're saying. I understand that, but I don't love it. Maybe not live in Washington.
No, I'm not saying...
Maybe we could do that.
No, I'm not saying you have to sell your business, but you don't have the rights at that portion.
Yeah, I get you.
While you're in office to be...
But as a business owner, you're going to trust just anybody. You know this blood, sweat, and tears that you put into something to build. And you know what I mean? Like I'm just asking, playing devil's advocate
If that's where, based on building your company properly and having that trustworthy of the people that you instill in those positions.
Yeah. Kind of like how Trump gave up his rights to his when he went in the first time.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously, he went to his kids.
It's billions of dollars. And a massive. Like he's built enough that he's able to do that.
Right.
But some people don't have that ability to do that.
But if you don't have control over that while you're in office, now it doesn't mean when you're out of office that you can get that back.
Yeah.
You just don't have the day-to-day choices to better your company while you could potentially pass things to help.
Right. But in a roundabout way, they probably still would.
Yeah, and there's always that
together.
gray area. I guess, with
They'll
everything.
just say, no, I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going down a big rabbit hole here.
I don't hate the idea. I'm parsing it out.
I think it's a good idea, especially now when there's no term limits for sure. Okay, so now we're gonna do the new game.
Yep.
We tried this with Abe Shaner, who's a local radio host around here. We did quite a few questions, but I think we're gonna test this for a few episodes and see if it takes off. But we're gonna play a little Would You Rather.
Okay.
Okay, so some of these got a little heated the last time we played this. So we'll see if they get.
Are they the same ones?
No, I did different questions.
Different ones. That's gonna be the hardest. Is doing different ones.
I didn't want you and I to answer the same way.
Yeah, I know.
So, and we've already had debates after.
I know.
After it. Okay, so number one, would you rather be in jail for a year or lose a year off your life?
Ooh. God, that's hard because you don't know what your end of your life is.
Right. I looked at this one like I read these already.
I would say probably a year off my life.
Oh, this one's easy for me. Year off my life. I literally say it all the time. I'd rather take years off my life than life off my years.
Yep.
And I live my life that way.
Yeah,
like I understand it. I want to be healthy and I want to live a full life, but I'm not going to be wrap myself in bubble wrap type of shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that person.
Yeah, I would definitely rather lose a year off my life because I would rather. In either way, I think it's the same thing. You're losing a year in jail, you're losing a year off your life, but then you don't have to spend that whole year confined and whatever.
And
definitely a year off your life.
My ADHD type shit just isn't a whole year. Oh, I'd go fucking crazy.
So that one was easy. Everybody answered the same way. It was when we answered differently is when we had some crazy answers. Would you rather be covered in fur or covered in scales?
Ooh, fur.
This one was tough for me.
For 100%.
Think so?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought fur.
Hey, you got to look at some of those Italian males. Man, they're covering fur already, so they live it day to day anyway. So.
I get really hot easily already. Yeah. And I'm thinking, God, if I got fur on.
Well, okay. What kind of scales?
It just says.
Are we doing like dry armor like armor type scales, or are we doing the fucking snaky scales?
Let's think like
because if it's
let's go with if we're doing fur, we're thinking animals. Let's go with like scales of a reptile.
But there's dry reptiles and nasty devil reptiles.
He doesn't like snakes.
Or so I'm not a big I don't want fishy scales either.
So you're pretty much made your choice already. You're fur.
I guess I'm gonna have to go fur.
Yeah, you don't like scales, so It doesn't matter which one I pick. You're gonna go fur anyway. So I think I don't know. I think I'd probably go with scales. I just think the fur would get too hot for me. I don't know.
I think it would be miserable for me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can move to a cooler climate and be fine. But you'd be warm though.
I suppose.
Okay. I hate winter. I already am tired of winter. Winter is not here yet, and I'm already tired of winter. And I get hot miserably. Like 60 degrees in the winter is too hot in my house. 65 degrees is too hot in
We
our
used
house.
to do this in a small office area at my office here in town, and we'd have to turn, even during the wintertime, we'd have to turn the air down to like 55 degrees
Oh, my goodness.
in the room because we would have to close the door so the sound would be okay. And then it would just get, with all the body heat and three, 4 people in there, it would just get so
I'm
hot.
not so much worried about the heat. I don't get like, but when I sleep, I cannot be anywhere
sweat.
hot.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I
man,
can't
I
be hot
get-
at all. I got to turn, my wife hates it, but I got to turn the air down. We still have the air on
Yep.
now, and I turn it down at night so that I can sleep. Okay, so I think I'm staying scales. I think I'm going to stick with scales. You guys both went fur, so there's that one. Number 3,
I don't love that answer from me, but that's where I have to be.
would you? This one's kind of interesting. Would you rather know the history of every object you touched, or be able to talk to animals?
Ooh.
Oh, that's talk to animals. I don't want to know
This
the
one
history.
This one was tough for me. Because then if it's a bad history, you'd be like, ugh.
Exactly. I don't want to know what went in
But
somebody.
something super important.
What if you just random object and you're like, I went in here.
Oh God, you took it way too far.
I mean,
You could change. You could really go both ways with this. The history thing, because you guys remember Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
When the guy had the book that
Yeah,
tells you
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
If you knew the history, you can make a lot of money on stuff if you
but
knew that.
no, you just know the history.
It doesn't tell
You
you the
know what's
future.
already
Well,
happened.
No, that's fine, but like like what would work and what wouldn't.
Yeah, I suppose. But then, as he's saying, you could go to the store and try to pick up a cucumber and found out it was somewhere else.
already
Yeah,
been
that's
somewhere.
true. No, that's true. That's good. But
Some
that
random
changes-
person
that changes my
on
that
one of
changes
those
my-
special sites
Yep.
was already in that store
Yep.
30 minutes before
Yep.
you.
Talk to animals.
I would like to be able to talk to animals
I
for
want to
sure.
talk to animals.
'Cause you
I've
could-
got
you
a
could get them
connection to animals
help,
already.
Help you do stuff.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
100%. I think talk to animals. At first, I was like, oh, I'd like to know the history, but then you bring that up, and I already had kind of, not that far, but I already kind of been like, I don't know if I want to know the history of every single thing I touch.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, there's certain things like
Like
about the
documents.
bullet that went through somebody's head.
Yeah, like JFK.
Like, yeah.
Or
We know
like
what we would have
the
known
Constitution.
what happened.
The Declaration of Independence. Like any of these documents.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But I think there's too many downsides to that.
And you've pointed those out drastically for us. I love that.
Some of the animals, maybe the animals that saw some of this history happen passed it down through them.
And here's the thing with that is that you can get people won't start talking behind your back because they would tell you exactly what.
Oh yeah, you know what that also don't trust that.
Right?
The dog's talking to you.
You
like,
wonder why the dog's barking all the time when a certain person comes over. Well, you're gonna know now.
yeah.
You gonna learn today, boy.
Funny. Number 4. Would you rather have and this one's kind of easy. I did this one because you're an entrepreneur. I'm kind of an entrepreneur. His family and him are kind of entrepreneurs. So I just thought this is going to be an easy answer, but I still wanted to ask it. Would you rather have an easy job working for someone else or work for yourself but work incredibly hard?
I'll work for myself. 100%.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, it's simple.
I just did that because we're kind of an entrepreneurial podcast. I just want to make sure everybody was on the same page.
Yeah, you dictate that. Yeah. You dictate how things are going to go. Not
My days, I can do a 18 to 20 hour day on the farm, and it's better than an 8-hour day in an office.
to me, and I was never that. Don't get me wrong. I was not always this way. Watching all my family have businesses, I'm just like, well, I don't want the stress. I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with that every day. But the older I got working for people, I'm like, why am I putting all this effort in when they're getting the fruits? And I'm like, why can't I do that for myself?
Which I'm not opposed to that because there has to be people that work for people.
Absolutely.
But I hate it. And I've worked for great people, and I still hate working for even the greatest people that I know that I work have worked for or whatever. Still hate working for them. Like, I'd just rather do it for myself or like, you know.
100%. I get that. Last one. Would you rather be able to dodge anything, no matter how fast it's moving, or be able to ask any 3 questions and have them answered accurately? This one was tough for me too.
Like
accurately
accurately
as in like truthfully.
Like,
so like accurately,
only
truthfully,
3
factual.
questions. That's it.
Or be able to ask any 3 questions. Yes,
Like
so
3
you
for
only,
the rest of
so you
life.
only get 3. So you can't like ask
Dodge.
everybody.
I'm dodging
3.
bullets.
Yep. I'm dodging anything.
I'm an asshole. People are eventually going to start shooting at me at some point.
I think that I would go with the 3 questions.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball.
100%.
I think I'm dodging. I
already can't.
I think I'm dodging because it would be. I would jump in front of cars and shit.
Of course, you'd go. you go that route.
Be like, I know you're not gonna hit me.
I'm just like, I already can't dodge anything, so I would rather have like 3, be able to think for a long time and get 3 questions asked or answered. It's almost like doing the genie thing. You get the
Absolutely.
Have fun with that. Getting hit by a car someday while you're thinking you hadn't even asked a question yet,
but it's
and
already-
just got hit by
It's
a
all right,
car.
but it's already going to happen. I'm already going to not be able to dodge the car.
The one that really gets me is, would you want to know if how you die?
Yeah, did we ask that one last time?
I don't think so.
Not that one. We asked one around that same thing. Would you rather? It was something about the future and the past.
I don't remember.
Let me see if I can find it because that one was interesting. I almost put that one on here.
Because that is a really big debate. I don't know.
What
if
do you
I'd want
think?
it. I don't know if I would want to know how I died, or how I'm going to die. Because it makes you walk on eggshells if you know how you're going to die. Like, you'd be like, all right, say you get hit by, you're going to get hit by a car. Like, not walk anywhere, or like you don't know how you're going to get hit by a car or where. You just know you're going to get hit by a vehicle.
I don't want to know.
I wouldn't. No, absolutely not.
100%.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to know.
This one was, would you rather have a time machine that only goes back in time or one that only goes forward in time was the question.
Move forward in time, 100%.
Think so?
Oh, absolutely. Because then you can pull the Back to the Future stuff.
But then you can't go back. You don't want to go back in time to do
I'd want to go back in time.
So you can't go. You only can go back.
You can either either go back or forward. You can't do both.
Oh, if that's the case, I'd only want to go back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because then you can do the whoever's going to win the Super Bowl or whoever's going to win the. But then you can't come back forward.
Yeah.
So wherever you choose to go, so you'd have to go back slow. You'd have to go back slowly,
a little bit,
a little bit at a time to see if it worked out, and then go back further. So you can never go forward.
Be like Benjamin Button.
I'll do one more of these too, because this was another one that was highly debated. Would you rather have sticky fingers forever or dusty Cheeto fingers forever?
Oh.
Now, in his mind, he thinks they're both the same thing. That Cheeto fingers eventually turn into sticky fingers.
I think they're exactly
And I said,
the same.
you got to think of it in the initial effect of like the initial dust before they get
Dust or
oil
glue.
on it.
Dust or glue, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, that's.
I think they're the same. Like I can't be.
He's going for like, and you've been eating Cheetos like the whole bag, and then your oil gets in it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the initial
Like dust.
couple Cheetos dust.
I would have to go with sticky fingers. 'Cause I don't know. That's.
I was thinking that too. Then like you go to pick something
Yeah.
up. And
He'd be like the kid off. You remember the movie Little Giants where he puts a stick in on?
That's funny. That's good. Yeah, that was a long one for us. That was a big debate. Other than that, that's kind of all I got. What'd you think of the whole "Would you rather" thing?
I like it. I like it. You definitely come up with some interesting answers for those.
Yeah, we can get into some long debates when we
Absolutely
do those. 100%.
And then when you find a good one, you start deep diving, and you're like, well, you could do this or you could do that.
We did that a couple times. I think there's a few TikToks we sent out of that whole
I think so.
portion of that. That was good. And that's actually how we met.
Oh,
The people that don't know, we met through TikTok.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't remember who followed who. It doesn't really matter who followed who first, but then we reached out to each other and kind of set this up. We've been talking for a few months.
Yeah, we've been busy, so it's kind of trying to find a time to coordinate and trying to get time to come up here and
Yeah,
hopefully
well,
work out
we
perfect,
really
so.
appreciate you making the time to come
Absolutely.
to Norfolk. I mean, it's a couple
that's
hour
awesome.
drive.
Yeah, but I appreciate it though. I rather have meet you guys and see what you guys got going on. You have a great facility here, so
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks great. So that's what you guys are doing is entertaining. It's up for debate on both sides, so it's good conversation to have, no matter all walks of whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, and we love doing both shows. This one, where we get to highlight people in the area, and then our useless assumptions, where we get to really take a deep dive into politics and news, and then that one's always fun. But I just coming here for an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute show.
Like I said, I like talking to people and kind of getting to know everybody and getting our name out there, and just you don't get to come up here all that often, so it's great. Yeah,
we'll have to have you back and maybe bring the truck down.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll figure out an event we can do and bring you back down with the truck. Tell the people where they can find Redlinc BBQ.
So you can find us on Facebook at Redlinc BBQ. You can find us on Instagram at Redlinc BBQ. We got a website. You can kind of see the about of how I started and where I come from, and that's redlinkbbq.com. So www.redlinkbbq.com. If you ever want to contact us for catering or anything like that, events, I'm happy to bring the food truck up here. You message us on Facebook, which comes directly to me. The emails come directly to me. So anybody that messages it, you're talking to the owner. So, and you'll get nothing but great service from us. We'll work with your budgets of what everybody's doing. So we're more than happy to do that with everybody.
I'm living proof that you get through to the owner because it happened through social media.
Yeah, so
and your link is spelled Linc.
Yes, Linc for Lincoln. So.
Yeah, Redlinc.
Yep,
correct. Barbecue.
And you'll find us. We'll start pushing the Fatberg stuff. So we're keeping that name, Fatberg barbecue sauce. So that's just going to be under our Redlinc banner. So that's just going to be a brand of ours. So we'll have sauces, and we'll also have rubs coming out as well. So that will be coming out here shortly. So
they don't have rubs now.
So they do have rubs.
So
they
do.
So we're gonna, after we get the sauces in stores, we're gonna continue the rub line as well.
Okay.
So we have
so that's all staying Fatberg. Okay.
Yep. So the sauces and rubs will be under Fatberg barbecue.
Okay. Perfect. That's awesome. Well, I'd love to wrap it up there, and maybe we can have some conversations after.
Yep.
But thanks to my co-host, Vance Neidig. Without him, the show would not be what it is. Huge thanks to Brad Bentele. I got it right again. Thank God. We really appreciate you making time for us today.
Yep, I appreciate you guys having me.
It's awesome. Keep on the lookout for more great episodes, and we'll see you guys next week.